Getting the first $100,000 is one of the most important investing milestones. If you have $100,000 invested in the stock market with a 10% annual rate of return, non-inflation adjusted, in 24 years, guys, you will have $1 million without any extra contributions. So that's really good because you don't have to do anything else besides that first $100,000. So that's really not bad because if you're the age 30, by the time you're 54, you'll have $1 million in the bank in investments without doing anything extra besides that first $100,000. Now you may say, John, I want the non-inflation adjusted return. That's fine. We can do 7% with $100,000. It'll take a little bit longer though because we have a 7% interest rate. With this rate of return, it'll take 33 years, and then we have $1 million with an inflation adjusted return. So that's not bad because that's right in time for Social Security, and you'll be 63 years of age if you can accomplish this goal by 30. So the question is, how can you do that so you can just coast fire to retirement with $1 million with only 100K? We'll go over that in this video. But as usual though, none of this is financial advice. I'm literally not a financial advisor.
Knowledge.
So in the beginning, we covered why the first $100,000 is so important. But how do we get there and what are the steps I personally took so I had over $100,000 by the time I'm 30? And just so we are clear, you don't have to be a slave to working to accomplish this goal. From 20 to 30 years old, I did a whole ton of stuff. I took a year off to do volunteer work in my early 20s. I paid for my bachelor's and master's out of pocket, so there was a ton of money gone. I did Peace Corps, which is an international volunteering service from the United States. I did that for 6 months, and then COVID happened. Then I lived in my car and traveled around. So there was a lot of time from my 20s to 30s. I really wasn't I wasn't saving much, guys. In 2021 is when I finally got my first full-time job. So it was only 4 years ago. So for actually most of my time from 20 to 30, I was not saving much money till I hit about the age of 26 to 27. So through this process, I was still able to enjoy random road trips, vacations with others, time out. So saving $100,000 before 30 is definitely possible, especially if you had random adventures like I did. So step one is definitely stay out of debt. And I know most people under 30 probably already have some debt and that's looking like college debt. Now I know for many of you, it's a little too late for that. You probably didn't plan for that. But if you have the option to avoid debt, especially college debt, it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Even if it means working throughout college. I worked 20 hours a week during my college semesters, and that was enough to pay because I was saving even before that. I really only attended college because of scholarships. That's the only reason I decided to go back. I was in between going to social work school and being an electrician, and the scholarships pushed me in that direction. So try to utilize scholarships if you can, get good grades, and then work throughout the period. That's the only reason I continued with college, or else I would have been in the trades. So staying out of debt was a huge factor in my mind, even at a young, early 20s man, which was great. Now, for those of you who already have debt from school, college, whatever, paying these items off as fast as possible is probably a wise choice. You can do the Dave Ramsey approach. Now, even if you're like, I have a really low interest rate, let's say it's super low, you will have more money by the time you're done paying that off to invest more. So you can weigh the options for what you want, but also consider the psychological freedom you have of not having to make an extra payment every month or whatever it is to your college loans. So eliminating debt is going to be a first big step for $100,000. The next item that also really helped me is to make sure I had some form of income even when I was in school, even times I wasn't able to make that much. I still worked 20 hours a week while in school so I could pay for my car insurance, hanging out with friends, whatever it was. In 2025, for people that are in college, there's even more opportunities for part-time work, online work, that pay a decent rate. So make sure you are always working some form of income so you can have money throughout this time, even if it's just a little bit. Stay out of consumer debt so then you have a little bit left over from what you're saving. Now, these next two things are actually the main 2 points that propelled me forward towards $100,000 way before 30. And I know these options aren't going to be available to everyone. So just make do with your situation and take these mindsets and maybe apply it to something else. But if you have these options, I would definitely utilize them. First is utilizing any retirement tax advantage account. I was surprised with my part-time job all through college, had a 401k plan and a match. Even if it was a small amount that can go into these tax advantage accounts, they add up over time, especially if you're getting a match. So you want to at least do your employer's contributions. It makes sense to at least do that. Now, I know a lot of jobs don't have a 401k match. So if they don't, start utilizing other retirement accounts like a Roth IRA, which is my personal favorite. You can do research in between traditional and Roth, but I personally feel Roth will benefit more people in this situation. The next item that propelled me to $100,000 is going to be a controversial one, and I know it won't be available to everyone. But that is if you have the option to live very cheaply aka renting a room with a friend, staying at home, living somewhere cheap. Financially, it's a wise decision in your early 20s, even mid to late 20s. I'm in a lucky boat where I get along with my mom and she allows me to live in our childhood home that we grew up in as I continue to work and save money. The option to live with my mom and not pay a mortgage or rent is huge. If your rent or mortgage is $1,500 every month, that's $18,000 per year in housing. 5 years living with mama is $90,000 saved. And let's say in this 5 years you're investing this money. So we have 5 years, 10% annual rate. We have $0 initial investment. We're going to deposit $1,500 monthly. In 5 years, we have $116,000. A 5-year sacrifice for not glamorous living, but you're saving a ton of money, and then that propels you to that over $100,000 mark. That if you remember at the beginning of the video, you don't have to do anything else to $1 million with a standard stock market return. So for a 5-year sacrifice, guys, I truly think it's worth it to get you to that mark before you're 30. Now, I understand not everyone has a nice family. Not everyone has parents that can support them like I do. I'm very blessed in this. Thank you, the Lord, for this opportunity, and thank you for a loving family. I understand this, but there are ways you can find cheap housing for yourself if you're not married and focus on investing instead. It will definitely pay off in the long run, and it's a sacrifice in the short term. Now, for you, 5 years even still might seem like a long time, $200,000. Well, I'm going to share 2 more tips with you to get you there even faster. The first one is when you get your degree, license, certification, whatever it is. If you don't have one, definitely do that. I encourage you to job hunt and hop around in the beginning if you can. Stay at like a place for a year, then use this place as leverage to negotiate higher pay at a competitor or your current work if you don't get a decent raise there. You can do this every year and can significantly increase your income, your hourly wage by not staying comfortable at the same place year round and year round. In the past 2 years, I increased my hourly rate by almost 3 times by seeking new opportunities, and my hourly rate is much, much, much higher than compared if I stayed at my first job where I started doing counseling. So don't stay complacent. It's 2025. Most companies will throw you away very quickly. Lastly, when you're learning to invest simply. In the beginning, you're an idiot. You won't be able to time the market. You aren't going to magically pick a winning portfolio your first couple of years of investing. Buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500 and continue to learn as you let compound interest do its thing and take effect. Back in 2020, guys, I was convinced when I first started investing, COVID was going to have a double top and it was going to crash back down. So I didn't invest during this whole period, missing so many gains. I had money right here and I didn't invest. I didn't invest all the way up till finally, around this point when I realized the market's finally going to go. Your investing skills are worse than you think when you're first starting out, so start investing simply. S&P 500 fund, me personally now is Bitcoin, but start simply because you're not as smart as you think. I'm not saying this in a mean way. I'm just telling you from experience, when investing, we're more emotional than we give credit for. I truly don't do anything too complicated in investing, guys. I just chose a different asset, which was Bitcoin, which has been proving worthwhile for me with the insane gains. And look at these guys. The stock market does not compare. When looking at all these items and consider, I understand not everyone can avoid college debt. Understand not everyone has the opportunity to live with their parents, rent-free, their mom. Understand you might not have a friend for cheap housing. I understand most people have a lot of bills to pay. God has blessed me in many ways, and I'm very grateful for that. So the point of this video isn't to discourage you, but to encourage you to implement similar things, opportunities you have in a way that is conductive for your life. Do you rack up consumer debt? Maybe start analyzing ways you can stop spending so much money. Have you not sought a new career opportunity in a couple years? Definitely should probably try that, right? Are you spending too much on housing? Maybe try to find some cheaper living for a 5-year time frame like I showed. Maybe find another job or a side gig to work extra and save more money. Are you utilizing any tax advantage accounts available to you? If not, why are you giving Uncle Sam extra money for no reason when you don't have to? All these are questions you can ask yourself that will get you much closer to $100,000 in a much faster time. Because as I stated in the beginning of the video, the first $100,000 is the most important because it'll take you to $1 million without any extra effort in your lifetime. If you want to explore this idea in more detail, I go over that right here. God bless, guys. Peace.